All right, welcome folks to the Serious Angler podcast and another edition of the Seriously Western segment. As always, brought to you guys by Amped Outdoors, and we have a freaking awesome show today. As always, join with me is Idaho's finest, Adam Deacon, and I am Bailey Egbert. Dude, we got our pal Chad joining the show, and obviously, folks can tell by the title, but give them a little glimpse of the badass topic we're talking about in today's show.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Chad is a big bait, swim baiting fool, and
Mhm.
he gets into it with us. All the details on these trout eaters specifically, right? I
Mhm.
mean, the biggest thing out west that is just something to, I don't know, that is been in a lot of people's minds, including myself, for something that I haven't done a lot of from across the country in general. And it's not just out west, but this is where it was born, were some of these big largemouth and spotted bass trout eaters. And it's just interesting to hear him break it down and the level of detail that he gets into in his approach to it.
There are guys in fishing, and everyone knows this term, but I think very few people. Like when you get around these people, you know it because it just either by their approach or to when you're talking to them. There's people that are good at fishing. There's people who are great at fishing, and then there are fishy people. Chad is a fishy guy. Like it's when you can talk about, and this is a little bit of a sneak coming up in this show, but when we're talking about moonrise, moon sets, and different things, and how all that plays into hand with certain conditions, and how that equation adds up to potential double digit on a 12-inch swim bait, that's as fishy as it gets. That is the general understanding of how everything is working. When you have people like that, those they're like as you say in the show, they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Those are dangerous people, and there's a reason they're catching giants because they do it consistently. We get into all that of what baits he's throwing, how he's throwing them, his approach to doing it, timing, that sort of thing. A lot of really good juicy nuggets in this one. Definitely one you guys are going to want your notepad out for because there's a lot of takeaways in this show. But man, how's everything been out your way before we dive into the show? How is things wrapping up there in Idaho, or you still got some open water?
Yeah, man, it's getting that way. The nice part is southern Idaho, honestly, most of Idaho is in an elevation band where water stays open. There is a body of water that freezes that I'm watching anxiously because I would like to get out there. I don't think it's going to unfortunately happen because it's been
Mm,
low 20s, high teens the last week there.
yeah.
But anyway, so stuff's starting to wrap up and it's getting into that winter time frame, but there's still plenty of fishing to go happen on a lot of bodies of water, which is a benefit to the state and the Pacific Northwest in general. A lot of these bodies of water stay open even when it's cold, which
That's
is neat.
nice.
But so
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll start doing a little winter chasing around. I'm headed to Mexico here soon, so excited for that,
Sure.
to not have to deal with the cold because I'm already like a little sick of it. It's like it's just
And he's done.
starting. It's December. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
about you, man, but like I'm already like, God, gosh, this is just the beginning. We got a while of this crap.
I enjoy it until Christmas is over, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Take me to Texas, something like get me out of this crap.
Yeah,
Uh, but shoot, you got a derb in almost a month though, don't you?
I know, man. That's what's crazy. A lot going on.
Quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround. So not much of an off season out west, which is surprising. Like it blows me away that a lot of these derbies starting in January. Like January is early, like February is early, but January is really early. That's
January
that's
is very
that's
that's
cold,
usually yeah. You usually only see like Florida derbs there in that time frame, but
right?
um,
Even Texas is like,
uh,
nah, we'll start in February.
yeah, Texas always has that 1 week where it's just like ice storm after ice storm, and it's like, I mean, that's really how I think OH Ivy blew up was because Milliken went there during an ice storm because it was like the only lake that was like somewhat open, didn't have ice to break through to get onto the fishery. That was all. That's a whole other conversation in itself, which is just craziness. But yeah, even Texas gets cold. But yeah, January, usually you're seeing guys going out on Okeechobee or Harris Chain with snowsuits on because it's cold in Florida too.
Florida,
So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, but
it's crazy.
I hear you, man. We're about wrapped up here tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, as people are hearing this, we're recording this a couple days before this is posted, but we're about to have real feel high of 12 degrees tomorrow, 10 on Friday. I'm gonna go hunt in it, and by the time
Oh,
I get out there for the evening sit, it's gonna be 5, dropping down to 1. So I'm hoping that means that they're gonna want to come out and eat in the cornfield like crazy with being that cold. Because I know I'm gonna want to shoot the first thing I see, so my hands can get cold or get warm.
warm, yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunately not looking good for any more time to get out on the open water here in New York. But it's all good. We'll be heading south here shortly, hopefully. But
That's right. You need to kill some deer and then get your butt to the south to go catch some fish in warmer weather.
yeah, dude, I just need this deer season over. It needs to be done. I need to just stop. Just- I'm looking forward to the 8-month whatever break in between.
Yeah,
Uh, but these shows like this definitely help make the winter time go by a little bit faster and a lot more exciting. And so I think without further ado, let's get on Mr. Chad Sweitzer. I think with that, dude, we just get right into this thing. Obviously, I'm sure people have seen by the thumbnail or title. We have I'm so beyond excited. I'm when Deacon mentioned this the other day as an idea for a show, I was ecstatic because uh, obviously, folks joining us, Mr. Chad Sweitzer, I got to join you in the boat on Don Pedro, and I got a little bit of a glimpse into this Trout Eater game, and I'm pretty sure you were ready to throw me in the lake because I was asking so many questions.
No.
But dude, I'm so excited for this episode. But dude, before I already get carried away, how you doing, man?
Good. Good. Off season means I get to chase the trout eater bite. I can ignore the 3.5 pounders that you chase in a tournament. Uh, those are just a waste of time right now.
There are people punching the air when you're saying a waste of time on a 3.5 pounder right now.
exactly. Me included. Dude, yeah, I am pumped up for this too because I really don't know a lot about the Trout Eater game, and really you are someone that opened my eyes to it a little bit, and I have a glimpse about this big, and I just want to pull the curtains back and be like, all right, this is super cool to me. I think also just on a national scale, this is very niche. To some degree, I think it can be duplicated where there's trout, right? But I would
Yeah.
love to just kind of open this up because I think there's a lot of people that have maybe dreamed about and seen a video of a fish eating a 10, 12, 13-inch swim bait. So man, I'm pumped to get into this as well.
I know for a fact there obviously this is seriously Western. We're gonna get a lot of majority West Coast guys, but I know we're gonna see a small listenership from Missouri, Tennessee, and the Carolinas.
Carolinas. Yeah.
Yeah, the Carolinas.
Yeah, we did a real fun for people that may have missed this episode, but for you for information, Chad, we had on one of the state biologists from Missouri, and he talked about a sneaky lake that we're like, dude, are you sure you want to talk about this? And he put it out on the show. There's a sneaky lake that they're like potential like uh basically world record brown trout that they're catching out of.
No kidding.
And but he's like, with that though, people are catching 10+ pound largemouth because of all the emphasis they're putting on the trout in the fishery.
Yeah.
So apparently after that he got some emails of people not so happy that he talks about it on the podcast, but it's cool. There's some small little overlooked trout fisheries here and there across the country, but this is gonna be freaking cool, man.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
and what's crazy is it doesn't take a big body of water as long as the trout are getting planted.
Mhm.
Like if it's a little put and take pond, they'll still target them.
So is that like around like this bite, the trout eater bite, and this is coming from somebody like myself that I have like I've watched some content here and there. And obviously, I bombarded you with questions on it. I was more intrigued watching you throw that thing than I was doing whatever the hell I was doing at the time. But like, what is the window for the bite kind of like this? Is it after a stocking? Is it a time of year? How does it work?
I mean, you notice the prime day is like a week after the stocking, right? If they put it in the Saturday, Sunday, then the next weekend they're going to be just crushing them. But really, once you start seeing those trout like flick on the top, eating stuff, starts usually mid-November to, I don't know, March, April.
Wow.
They'll target the trout through that whole span.
Wow. And like, as far as for the stocking stuff goes, because this is on a very low key level from where I was in Colorado, there was a couple of lakes where this would happen, and there were small bodies of water with big fish in them. Also, walleye fishery. There's a walleye fishery
Mm.
that, like, holy cow, state record walleye was caught out of, and the guys that like would go at night, you could like shine a flashlight down on the bank, and you would see eyes of like 8 to 10, 12 pound walleye, and then
What?
you would see literally rows, dude. You would see the stocked trout running up and down the bank and in no
Yeah,
water, and the walleyes were just
yeah,
sitting waiting for one to come off the wall. Like,
yeah. That's crazy.
I was like, this is nuts.
That's
Shout out to a biologist. That was a professor that got me onto that bite at CSU. He came and talked to the bass fishing team, but he was a fisheries biologist professor at Colorado State, and he's like, "Yeah, so I got this sneaky bite I'm working on right now."
just let it loose. It's not sneaky anymore.
Well, dude, that was like 10 years ago. I'm sure he's been dialed. All right.
That's amazing. Dude, I can't believe this is no shade because obviously Andy, one of our boys here at Serious Anglers, a big fly, center pin guy. But like, I can't imagine seeing that. What you're, imagining what you just said, Deacon. And there's these rows of trout swimming up, and then there's giant walleyes waiting to eat them, and trying to be that fly guy. It's like I want to catch that little trout. Screw that giant walleye bass that's right there. I want to catch that little trout. I can't imagine that line of thinking.
Savage. Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna take that. We're gonna use that as bait. That's what we're gonna do.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Now it's impressive when a guy does it on a fly rod and then throws a streamer this long and catches that
yeah.
walleye. Then you're like, all right, that's
That's
sick.
yeah, that's legit. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
But dude,
dude,
Chad, I guess to start here, man, you've got for the people watching on video, there's a wall of baits behind you. Um, I was lucky enough to see this in person and just was mesmerized. Like, I feel like I could sit there and ask you questions about so many different things on the wall. But in this prime window of trout stocking happening and these bigger fish targeting the trout, like, is it always let's call it like a wedge tail, more natural swim bait or glide? When do you go from, I guess, the two distinct main big baits in my mind are a glide bait and then that wedged soft body tail swim bait. And then of course there's wake baits and all these different things in between. But like, what's just like starter, here we go, it's the time of the year. What are you going towards?
Well, as soon as you start to see those trout come up to the top, you see the surface pops and they're eating bugs, and you know it's time. I mean, you have to have both on deck. You have to have a big glide, and you have to have a big soft bait.
Okay.
And I really don't mess with the boot tails um, at all, really, for trout eaters,
Mm-hmm.
because those trout, I mean, they're just up there. They're swimming super lazy. Um, but it's you have to have both on the deck.
Okay.
Like I don't. It's totally like by the day dependent. Like
Really?
I had 3 days over Thanksgiving. Day one was a 12-inch soft bait. Day two was a 8-inch glide, and
Little
then
glide.
yeah, smaller, and
Mhm.
then day three was a 10-inch glide,
Whoa. All on
and
the
like
same
you
body of water. Fish were
all in
doing.
the same body of water, and like even like with the glides, they wanted them in different spots by the day, just because it went from sunny and warm to sunny to then cloudy and cold. And it's kind of interesting that and this has been something that I've figured out this year. For some reason, the warmer and like more pristine the weather is,
Okay.
the more they want that soft bait real slow.
Up on the top of the surface.
Yep.
Yeah.
Up on the top. They're feeding up when it's warm. And you would kind of think they'd want the slow, like methodical approach when it's cold, but maybe, and it could be just the active trout. The trout get a little more active when it's colder, so that glide imitates them a little better.
Mm.
But yeah, this year it's been totally, the warmer it is, the slower they want it.
So kind of like a contrary to like the big shad type of swim bait fishing.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it.
See, my head, guys, goes towards that makes sense to me from the standpoint of not related to swim bait fishing, but just like, okay, when do you see, if you're using your forward facing sonar, when do you see floaters, right? Like when do you see those fish rise, the largemouth I'm talking about specifically here, get to the top
yeah.
of the surface? It's when it's sunny and slick and they're up there, and the bait are sometimes up there too. And then, generally, if it's a cloudy day, I'm dragging stuff, or I'm spending more time near the bottom. But that's
See,
super interesting.
Isn't that another awesome point to take away, though, that we would have never known without technology? Because you see that overcast day and you're thinking topwater. Like, that goes to your brain, spinnerbait, whatever have you. Like, you wouldn't know that they're out there floating unless it's for the tech, which is a crazy part of it. For somebody, obviously, over here in New York, where we don't have the trout stocking in lakes that we could take advantage of.
Is there any of that, Bailey, out there?
Not that the only thing I know that gets stocked in our lakes are tiger muskie, or if it's like stockings they do for walleye or something like that, or maybe trout in the Great Lakes. But it's nothing like you guys are talking about.
Because there's already a natural trout population, or they just okay.
Yeah, like we have some landlocks and things like that. We don't get that population of like the smaller trout, like sizable enough to have bass try to eat them. I've tried at very long lengths to figure out the trout bite on the Finger Lakes, but so we don't have that here. I'm curious, is like, how do you know that a trout stocking is happening? Like, does the state communicate it well? Like, how do you know it's going down? Do you have a trail camera hidden at the ramp to know when they're pulling up? Like, what do we got going on here?
There's like a generic website, like California Department of Fish and Wildlife or whatever it is, but it's semi-accurate. Really, I noticed this week, I didn't even check the website. I just went to the lake and I saw right on the ramp was 10 to 12 inch trout just schooled up. So like, okay, someone just put trout in here, because they'll follow the river channel pretty quickly off the ramp. So if they're there, it's recent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know where right? If anyone's seen a stocking truck, it's just a big tank truck that has a chute, and they put it right off the boat ramp normally, and they're stocking catchable or sub-catchable trout. And to your point, Chad, like you can look up on any fish and game website, and they'll show you those stockings. And maybe to your point, even if it's not accurate, like it's not going to like it was stocked November 20th and it goes up November 20th. You can at least see annually, normally, like, okay, they're putting trout in this body of water roughly this time of the month in November.
Yeah.
And do they stock specifically in November because of like a temperature thing? Like, do you think it's like, or what's your take there?
Yeah, I think they monitor lake temperature, and once it gets, I don't know what the cutoff is. I know for some lakes it's like under 60, they'll start planning.
Okay.
I don't know that's a private lake that I know that I follow, but I don't know what the California like legal law is for that. But yeah, they follow temperature.
Okay.
Now, for somebody that has never tried to get on this sort of bite, is it when you pull up to the ramp and like you said, a lot of what you said so far has been very visual. You want to be seeing that the trout are prevalent, the trout are active. is that just I'm going to ride around until I see him type of thing? Is it very, typically at the boat ramps where you can kind of get a telltale sign if it's happening? Or do you kind of have like a general topographic feature on a lake that you go to look for this thing?
I would say I don't really try to figure out if there's recent trout plants by looking anywhere but the ramp. I don't think you'd see them enough. 100%, like the week after they dump trout in, you go to that next main lake point. If there's deep water access and it's on the main river channel, you're probably going to see, especially on scope. Like I haven't had scope on a trout planter lake this year. I had some last year that I messed around with. But yeah, you'll see groups. They'll usually group up in like 5 to 10 trout, and you'll see them kind of wash over the point, like a week after the plant. Yeah, those main lake points are where they group up.
Okay, and on these, like your point, because we've both spent some time with you in the boat. You know what you're doing on scope, but as far as the bodies of water, especially in California right now, mussel situation, etc., you have to lock your boat into that situation. So you're using other boats to fish these bodies of water. Is that what I'm understanding?
Oh yeah, I got my grandpa's boat tagged, his little 14-foot aluminum tagged for a small lake, and then I got my dad's boat tagged for another lake, both trout
You got a
fed.
whole fleet, bro. Damn.
Oh yeah, and then
You just
my
need to
boat
make it
actually,
the live scope, ice fishing live scope, and just rotate between.
I would use
Hey,
it.
we got to get this boy a sniper pole. That's what we got to be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, that's so. When you're talking, is this generally like a shallow deal, deep deal? Is there like typically a standard range, or is it as long as that trout are prevalent?
I try to keep it shallow just because it's more fun. It's easier to do, and you're not losing baits. They'll go deep sometimes in January. Um, I've dealt with that. Dealt with like a Roth 16 HUD, and you put nail weights in it, so it gets down to 20 plus easy. But when you're doing that all day, you're gonna lose one or two, especially if there's any wood in the lake. I've got a huge lure retriever that saved thousands of dollars, but you're still gonna lose one or two a day. So I try to keep it shallow.
Interesting.
And I feel like too shallow is like you're more guaranteeing they're going to see your bait, being that obviously smaller column, smaller body of or window of water, if you will. That's you'd think.
I will say if you make a good cast, they're gonna see the bait. That's the one thing that I learned on scope that blew me away. Is I'd be fishing, I'd know there's this rock pile 60 feet out, 30 feet deep, and I cast to it, and it's like, oh, I'm trying to hit this rock pile just right. And they see the splash and they swim up to it like immediately.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you're dropping your motor into the damn lake when you throw those things, dude. It's hard to miss.
Yeah.
Boom.
So like they hunt, like there's no conserving energy or like lazy. I mean, they hunt constantly.
Dude, this right here is what I just love. Like, so again, and it's cool, Chad, because you remind me your background first was swim bait, heavy swim bait stuff before tournament fishing, correct?
Well,
in between?
it started out where like I want to get into swim bait, or I want to get into tournament fishing, at like 13, started doing my first tournaments, and I was terrible. Like, and me and my dad would enter them, and we'd have 10, 12 pounds, and the winners would have, 19, 20 with an 8-pounder. And I was like, I don't even know how to catch the 8-pounder, even when I'm fun fishing. It was just another realm. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to focus on whatever bait gets me those giant bites. I'm going to chase that before I chase tournaments. And so that's kind of where, and then a couple years I just spent throwing the swim baits because that was the best way to catch those giant fish.
That's awesome. Sick.
So West Coast.
That is so West Coast. But dude, so okay.
It's amazing though. I mean, it's primal. That's like the most primal way to fish. Like and we have an awesome show coming out it's actually perfect that this is the same week but I'll let it out. We have a
Yeah.
glide bait panel for our OG show on Wednesday. So this is like the big bait week. I don't know why it kind of
Dude,
landed this way, but it's
the big bait
pure
week.
Shark Week, dude. We got big
Shark
bait week.
Week.
It might as well be. But dude, it's the only line of baits in my mind that has literally established its own cult following, its
Oh, yeah.
own community, its own style. Like you
Culture.
could pick out a person that is a West Coast glide bait fisherman or a big bait fisherman, wearing Vans and skinny, black skinny jeans, whatever, and the hoodie. Like, it's cliche, but it's cool now that it's gone countrywide. But it's I think why people get so addicted to it is because, one, obviously your capacity to catch a freak giant is wider. It's not as many bites, but like you're just something so primal about it, dude. It's like me when I walk into a gas station, I see that Little Debbie aisle. It's the exact same feeling that the bass gets when they see the trout coming.
Dude, I mean, I think it's so cool to me, and I like what technology, like you're saying, has done to be able to see what these fish do. But your point related to like these fish aren't conserving energy in the wintertime like we've always thought. It's like when they see something like that, like it's all gas because they know if they get it, they don't have to eat for a long time, right? I mean, if they get a
Exactly.
12-inch trout, like they got a long ways to go. Um, I would love to hear how. Okay, so like let's start with a beginner that wants to get into this. Break down a lake in the wintertime for catching these big trout eaters. Sounds like main lake points are a factor, particularly near a river channel or where there's deep water access. Um, but what's just like how do you start doing this stuff, and B, what are you looking for, and how many like chances are you going to get a day? I mean, that's another big mystical thing here with the swim bait world. Like, what does this actually look like for somebody who's going to pick this thing up?
I mean, for a beginner, I kind of just went through this with some buddies from church. They're like, oh, they'd never caught a bass on a bait caster before. And so I was like, all right, I'll set you up. We'll go throw swim baits. I like it for beginners just because, like you were saying, you typically get more chances at fish. You'll just fish interactions. You're gonna get more when you're
Mm-hmm.
throwing a 8 to 10 inch bait. You might not get them to bite,
Right.
but you're gonna see them. You're gonna be able to work with that. Um, I mean, yeah, you said main lake points, deep water access. I definitely would focus on main lake points up current if there is current. Like my home lake, the body of water that I fish more than any other, well, fish more than any other. Um, it has a really clear river channel, and I'm almost positive that there is some solid current. It's a massive lake, and they don't draw water too much, but because those trout go straight up the channel, straight over this main lake point, this like island that's out of the water right now. And there's fish on the other end of the point or on the other end of the channel, but not nearly as many, and the wind has to be blowing just right on that. Whereas those trout, if there's no wind or if the wind is right, they're going to go upstream. I think they just want to be facing into the current, even if it's just less than a mile an hour current. Um,
To feed? Do
and
you think they're doing that to feed?
I think it's more efficient for them. Like they run through more water when they're swimming up current. So I think
Mm,
just out of habit, yeah, they're a little more efficient. The trout are when they're feeding.
right. Hmm.
Another thing is I tell beginners, like throw baits that you're not going to lose. Like even if
Mm.
they're not, the best bait is a Baitsmith Magnum or Hog Hunter, whatever they call it now. But if you just throw that a sinking one, and you don't have a lure retriever, you don't know, how to work them out of rocks, and you're throwing it from the shore, you maybe get 3 days out of it, and then it's gone, and you're out
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
So
Toast.
like my buddies, he's like, hey, like I want to get this. It was a Gancraft, and I was like, well, get the floating one first,
Yeah.
and then once you're because you got to don't throw braid, obviously, because you're going to cast them off. But once you're casting it, you're launching it good, then maybe buy those sinking glide baits, a 250, a Hinkle. But until you've got it down, just stick to the floaters and don't lose them.
And you
Yeah,
can
so
catch them
besides,
on floaters all winter long.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have run into the late December, if they stop planting.
Okay.
Um, I've seen them go deep.
The trout. And how deep will the trout go?
I think the trout stay up, but I think the bass go down.
See, that's what I've noticed too. Whenever I see trout in a body of water on forward facing now, that's what I've always learned to see. A trout's moving fast and going crazy, especially
Yep.
following a bait. But they're always
Yeah,
up high. They're always in the
yeah,
top 5 feet of the water column. It seems like.
yeah. So there's times when those bass, like I saw this week, I saw a little shad die off, and I don't know how much that occurs in deeper water. Um, but there's something in December that sometimes the bass will stop focusing on trout.
Hmm.
Um, the plants have to stop flowing. The trout get a little smarter. I think the crawdads are dormant, so it's not that. But I've seen gills. You've seen schools of gills down in 40,
Mm-hmm.
and so if you get, I mean, the bass are just going to chase whatever's the most available at the time,
yeah,
right? And it can be kind of hard to get them to focus on something else by running one of, if they're on trout and you throw a shad crankbait by them, they're not going to care.
Hmm.
And the same thing for like, I mean, that's one of the reasons I think a jig always works, because it's either a crawdad or a gill, or it could be so much. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, as long as you're seeing trout shallow, there's a bass somewhere that's eating them shallow.
Wow.
so you mentioned the Gancraft for
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's trying to get into it, like, and not try to go spend, an absurd amount of money on baits to, at least trial this pattern. Like, what are your recommendations for somebody that's looking to go add to the shopping cart?
100% S waiver, the S waiver
Mm-hmm.
168. Um, if you throw super light hooks on it, it'll float almost always. There's variations. It's a cheaper bait, but S waiver 168, and then a HUD 6-inch Huddleston for a soft bait. Those are less than $30 each. 20 or 30, and you'll get bit on them. They're proven baits. I caught the lake record at Shasta on a 168 S waiver.
Whew.
So
Now,
sick.
and these obviously are baits that you don't need a crazy setup or anything
No,
for. But when
So
you're
a medium
talking
heavy.
earlier, though, like that 8-inch glide, 10-inch glide, you're talking about a 12-inch swim bait. Like,
yeah,
for somebody that's maybe at that stage where they're starting to figure things out, but they know they've seen Chad on the lake and he's freaking smashing them, and they know whatever they're throwing is not making a big enough splash like Chad's is. So they're like, what kind of setup are you throwing some of that giant stuff on?
the big ones currently, because I have, let's see, this one is the Mag X. That's 12 inches. I think it's 7.5 ounces. Um,
You
could beat the crap out of somebody with that thing,
dude. Every time I walk into that,
club.
you're like, I look at that thing and I'm like, this is like you could kill somebody on a cast with this. Like, someone could die.
the crazy thing is, I'll send you a picture. I caught a 2-pounder on it this week.
What?
Yeah, on
This is
I just run one treble on it too. I caught a 2-pounder.
The fish is like, I saw mom try to eat this. I'm gonna try to eat
dude,
it.
bass are crazy. I love bass so much. They're like, oh, I could get that in my mouth. Come here.
Dude,
We
not to expose too much of Wednesday's show, but that was like one of the key takeaways from every single person we had on the panel was the moment you realize big baits are way more effective or when you catch your first 2-pound bass on a 10-inch glide.
100%.
They're
like, oh, if I can catch this on this.
Yeah. We had me and my buddies, there's 3 of us in the boat, and we watched like a 4-pound trout, huge trout, swim over the top of this flat that we were fishing. And we were watching 4-pound like bass, 4 to 6-pound bass, like T-bone the trout, but they had no shot of getting it in their mouth. And so they were actually hitting it and then like flipping over it out of the water, like cartwheeling on it. I casted to it, catch a 6, almost 7-pounder. My buddy casts to it, hooks a 5, loses it, and then my next friend throws on it, and catches a 580. There's an entire school of them. They had no chance of getting that trout in their mouth, but when a smaller one was thrown in the pile, they ate it. They went right for it. It was nuts.
Yeah, can you imagine being that trout, knowing you're not going to die, but you're about to get the shit beat out of you?
You're gonna get like it's like you're gonna get knocked around, man. It's gonna suck.
You see that coming, you're like, ah, damn it, not again.
The same size as me, but you're beating me up.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Dude,
dude.
that is insane. That was going to be one of my kind of next questions here is like trout eaters, are they working as a team? Are they running solo? Like, what's your take on these wolf packs of fish? Like, what do you see?
I don't think they're necessarily working as a team. I think
Okay.
when you get those bites, is when there's multiple fish and they're competing with each other. And like they kind of lose that. If you get a giant by herself, she's just going to follow it and follow it and follow it, and then she'll decide to eat it or not. And usually those big ones decide not to eat.
Right.
But when you get 5 of them, 6 of them, one of them's going to mess up. And so that's kind of where like those little spots, the little off spots can be awesome because no one's fishing them, but you're not going to get that competition usually. Whereas if you're on the main lake spot with that there's fish on, it's more likely that you get them to compete for a bait.
That's
Makes sense.
that's big. I mean, that's kind of takes me back to like the Chris Zaldane, conversation. Something that Chris Zaldane does such a good job of talking through what he's doing. But he's always said like where you throw the big bait is the most obvious spot on the lake.
Yep.
And that probably explains it better though, right? It's like, okay, there's fish there and there could be a competitive situation and it's something that's big enough and presents something that's completely different than what they're used to seeing potentially.
Community
Yep,
holes are a
100%.
community hole for a reason.
Yep.
Dang,
Gosh,
dude.
that's so freaking cool. Dude, so on that bait you just showed, talking about hardware, like, do these even come with stock trebles, or like, what are you slapping on these suckers?
And how do you
This is
buy them,
literally
dude? I can't figure out how to buy these things. Every time on the internet, they just go away.
Yeah,
Secret sauce from Chad.
there's some. I mean, that one I just threw the one. I had a trailer on there, and I didn't get a fish in the boat on the trailer. It was always on that throat treble, and that one. I mean, the 12-inch soft bait you're only really going to throw when you're looking for a double digit. I think. I mean, yes, last week was a little bit different, but previous to that, the smallest fish I had caught on it was 8 pounds, and if I'm trying to catch a 5 to 7 pounder, I'm probably just gonna throw a 10-inch or 8-inch bait. Um, in terms of buying them, I think you can buy those straight off the site. You might have to like send them an email and special order it because it's $180 bait. But I know the floater mags, which are probably what I'd recommend you buy as a first one. Like I tried to get on the last drop and couldn't figure it out. I missed out. I just buy the regular ones, cut them apart, pull out the harness, saw out the lead, and then throw a fluke in there, and it's a slow sink instead of the medium sink.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was like, you want to talk about when I was like, I know nothing about swim baits. I walk into Chad's house, I see this wall of baits, but then he has like a surgery table of swim baits where he is like the Saw movies, taking apart, lead weights out of swim baits, re-gluing them together, all these crazy expensive baits that I'm like, I don't even want to touch it, and he's drilling through them and messing with all sorts of things. I'm just like, I am so out of my comfort zone right now. I don't even know how to act.
Yeah, I thought I was cool because I swapped stock treble hooks on a bait and put a different treble on them. That capacity, I'm like, yep, I'm out of my league. Hey, that's props though. That's compliments, Chad. I mean, that's what separates the avids from the nerds. And in bass fishing, it's good to be a bass and nerd, man, because that's where not many people are going to pick up that 12-inch swim bait and try to and actually catch something on it. It's going to be one or two casts. They're going to see it land and make a tidal wave, and they're going to be like, there ain't no way anything's going to eat this thing.
Yeah, and not many guys are gonna, buy $300 soft baits, cut them up, mess up one of them, and then you have two that are rigged right. Because
That's
it was trial and error for me. Let's see, I think I have it. Yeah, there's one that was a mistake cut. That's an
Oh,
early one.
jeez. So what was the point of was open that up then? Was that was to insert weights?
So here's the harness for it. So this is the new style. You can see that I tried cutting it and then I cracked it all the way down. So I mean, I essentially
Oh.
destroyed the, integrity of that harness. And so this one, that harness is internal and the lead is in the harness. So you have to cut the harness basically in half. But if you cut too far, you end up, or you're rough with it, like I was on this one, you end up cutting it in half or cracking it in half. And so that one, this is a fin donor because they go through fins like crazy, especially on spotted bass lakes. The spots will come up and grab fins and rip them off. So it's nice to have a spare bait just to recycle fins.
Dude, it makes you wonder, like, do they do that to real trout? Like, go up and take their baits and like try to
Oh,
rip their fins off? Like, it makes you wonder. And it's if you start going down that rabbit hole of thought process, you're like, dude, bass are mean. Dude. It's, it's terrible.
they're just bullies, dude.
especially the spotted bass. Like the spotted bass are just they outcompete the largemouth by far. I mean, I've had days where I've had casts where you cast a big soft bait and you're just getting thumped like boom, 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 and you finally hook up, and it's a 7-pound largie with like a bunch of 4-pound spots around it because they're first to the trout almost every time.
Huh.
Um, this last week I was on a spotted bass lake, but all I caught were largemouth. And for some
Whoa.
reason, yeah, I had like a 28, 29-pound limit of largies in what I would call a spotted bass lake. And for some reason, the spots that week were hitting the bait with their mouth closed. Like I would see, I saw a 7-pound spot come up, just pound it.
With your eyes,
No,
talking.
oh yeah, with my eyes, like no sand, no new sandpaper, nothing on the bait. They're just rolling over it. And the largemouth, they just don't do that. Like they're not going to make contact with the bait and not get it. Their mouths are so big, and the largemouth just feel kind of clumsy compared to those spots when they get up close to baits.
Wow,
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
dude, that's the stuff that you have probably seen in years of doing this. Just have to be like, I mean, the best like when I think of the best moments on Bassmaster Live or like on a watching a tournament, it's always some big bait, visual, clear water.
Clear Lake, Steve Kennedy. We'll just put it out there.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh my gosh.
like
Yeah.
like just literally that is like, I mean, it doesn't get any better, dude. And you like, I can only imagine what you have seen on the water. Like that is so cool to see those spotted bass just being bullies and hitting them with their mouth closed.
Yeah. They're all just sitting there, mine, die.
Exactly.
That's crazy, dude. So with that, real fast, just to backtrack. So you mentioned on that cast, like you're getting bumped, and you finally hook up.
Mhm.
Are you waiting for the rod to load, or what's the hook set look like on something like that?
Um, the more like usually first cast of the day, first bite of the day, I'm swinging like 100%, just out of habit, out of adrenaline.
Yeah.
But the more I get thumped and don't hook up, the less I'm reacting to it, right? And so like sometimes towards the end of the day, if I've gone 20 bites and they all bounce off, I feel that bite and I don't even move the rod tip, nothing. Don't pause the bait, nothing,
Wow.
just to make them feel like oh, I hit it, but nothing happened. I'm going to try to hit it again and again and again. Um, yeah, the more I don't hook up, the less I react to it. If they're crushing it first hit, then I'll swing on them every time.
Mm. Gosh, dude.
Okay, now let's talk about just like general retrieve. I think of both. Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
your retrieve with the big soft trout bait, and then also what you're doing with a glide bait. Maybe starting with like the beginner into like what you do more advanced over as you learn and go over time.
So I'd say for beginner on the soft bait, there's really, especially on a floating or suspending's key. I don't like seeing my bait. As long as it's right under the water, that's prime because they have something to pin. They pin it up against the top. Um, for a beginner, that's 100% what I'd recommend. A floater, throw a nail weight in it so it doesn't wake. I do not get fish on a wake when a soft bait is waking. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
then, when you get more advanced, you can get down to like dragon bottom. Prime is like you have a big rock 60 feet out, and you get your trout to hit the rock, bounce off it, and that gives them the opportunity to pin it against the rock and then to ambush it as it comes over the rock. You're just getting more chances at a bite versus just throwing it in the middle of the water column. There's a time and a place for like middle of the water column bites, but I'd say that's the least effective
Interesting.
of the retrieves. For a glide, you know, there's two primary retrieves, right? There's a straight retrieve and then a chop. Um, I don't typically chop the Gancraft. That's a bait that needs to be chopped. It just I don't love the glide on a straight retrieve. Um, but on trout, you have a Chad shad or a shorter glide shad shape. That's more of like a sharp turn of the handle chop.
Mm.
Just to get it to cut back and forth.
Mhm.
These trout glides, you want more of a pull. Like I will not really reel chop. I'll just and I won't like twitch the rod. I'll just pull the whole rod, and you kind of get that wider glide.
Mm.
100% my most effective retrieve on the glides is bomb a cast as far as you can and just super slow. The biggest follower I've ever had was actually on a 250, and it wasn't gliding. It was just going. It probably got down to 20, just like a spy bait.
Wow.
And obviously, it didn't turn the fish, right? Because I wouldn't think one would turn on a glide bait that's not gliding, but it was the biggest fish that I've ever seen. Um, but slow retrieve throughout the cast just to get those fish to come and look. Right, you want the most time that bait's in the water, and once it's right out of view, just go nuts with it. Right, because it's a trout. You're always casting shallow to deep. Um, right when it gets to that, like they have to decide whether they're going to eat it or not. Make it panic, and that's usually where I'm going to get bit.
What, dude?
Gosh.
That just that completely like I I catch some fish on big baits, and I understand the concept of shallow to deep and then trying to make a fish react, but like that made it so simple. And like, okay, you're trying to get them to just continually follow this thing, and then right when it's decision time, like go nuts and have one crack it.
Yep.
Like that is juice, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's almost like copying the fish's attitude in that sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
And for some reason, like you have to be. The nice thing about swim baits is you can almost always assume, especially once you know a lake or you're bringing a swim bait to a lake you already know. When there's fish watching it, or on scope, when there's fish behind it, and so you can judge like, okay, I know this point goes from dirt to 20 feet. I cast it out into 20. Where am I getting bit? For me, usually, you're getting bit in that like 5 foot or less range. But last week, I was getting bit when I kept that slow roll going, and they wouldn't react to that pop.
Okay.
So that's the nice thing about swim baits is you can change it up every new spot, a different retrieve, or you get distracted, go to adjust the trolling motor, and then you get bit. Then okay, I'll institute a couple pauses in the retrieve. It's not like a jig, right? You drag a jig. Do they want it hopped? Do they want it drugged? You have to know there's fish on that spot, and looking at the bait before before you can like judge whether a retrieve is good or not. The swim bait, you almost always know there's a fish watching it.
Yeah, with that kind of drawing power over 12-inch bait, but it
Even
makes sense though when you think about it. Like when you watch bait get just blown out of the water and chase, it's not like a top water where it's just walking back and forth, super nice, steady. I mean, you see a lot, obviously, with the spotted bass guys on like Lanier and the Hartwells and things like that, where as they start getting bass started blowing up and missing it, they work it faster, and there's no like graceful side to side. It's just mayhem on top of the water. It sounds like that's the same thing, because I'm imagining when a trout's getting chased by 5-7 pound largemouth, and it's just gonna try whatever it possibly can to get away.
Oh yeah.
So there's nothing graceful about it.
Have you seen that before, Adam? When the trout get right on top and just skip off the top?
Yeah, and the place where I experienced it the most was on a body of water in Washington, and these were natural trout. They're red band rainbow trout, and they were a little bit smaller. Like I would say 6 to 10 inches would have been a big one. Like a lot of them were like 6 to 8, 9 inches long, and smallmouth were eating them, but it was like mayhem, dude. I mean, it would be like, and there was a lot of them. It wasn't like there was like one or two. You'd go across a point and then you'd like just be like, what are these things? And then you'd watch one get popped out of the water. But like, I mean, it's so interesting to me because, and this goes to like lure design, your point with like the spy bait stuff, but trout, when they're calm and just swimming, the nice part about trout is in anywhere out in the West, you see them a lot. And if it's clear water, but they really like nothing moves. Like their tail, like it literally is just like, you know what I mean? Just a straight like, here they go. Like, but then when they're getting after it or they're getting chased, like it is like, zoom, 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 like, crazy. Like,
or you see them. Did you catch them at Pedro on a minnow?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see them on the scope. They're just like zipping.
Oh yeah. No, trout like do backflips over your bait in the water. How does he not have it? He's like, they're crazy, but it's super interesting to see baits because sometimes I'm like, I can't stand a swim bait. Some of these new swim baits, they don't do anything, man. You look at them and you're like, this looks bad. Like it doesn't even like, it's just literally sitting there like, maybe wobbling, maybe. But to your point, like that's what they do until they feel like crap. I gotta go.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. I have so much to learn in this. I want to learn how to do this stuff so bad.
You can crack the sucker wide open.
It's addicting. It's so addicting. Like I totally understand the guys that do nothing but throw swim baits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, if they're gonna do what you're talking about, I don't blame them. It's feel bad. Like I don't know why anybody in the state of Ohio bass fishes, because it's like you just don't have any of the goodness you guys have over there. Like in Texas, like it's like when you're missing out on stuff like this, but you still want to bass fish in Ohio. I'm throwing shade at Ohio just because
I was going to say, Ohio guys, don't come after us. I'm proud of you for going fishing. It's hard. I grew up in a state. It was like Colorado where it was like a 3-pounder was like gold, dude. All right, like.
I only always use Ohio as the butt of my jokes simply because Andrew Hayes, the host of the Tackle Talk podcast, listens to this. So I just to poke fun at him because they have great college football. They do not have good bass fishing.
Great.
All jokes aside. But yeah, dude, that's unreal. One thing I want to ask, Deacon did a great job of putting perspective of like if you're new to this, and I imagine there's going to be quite a few folks that are going to try this now that they've heard it in their respective parts of the country. What do you think are some? You actually, it's perfect that you've had people trying it for the first time in your boat recently. What are some of the big mistakes people make when
Mm.
trying this for the first time?
Well, first and foremost, using braid.
Mm.
Because they
You're
don't want
gonna
to lose the
snap.
lure. They're like, it's too big line kind of a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna snap braid on a cast. If you backlash, um, paying attention to the subtle differences in like when you see a fish, right? You have to mentally log everything you did on that cast. One, to get that fish to follow, right? That was a positive. But two, like, what do you need to change to get that fish to bite? And it might not even be, oh, I did something wrong. Just okay, I did not go crazy on the tail end of that retrieve, or I did. Okay, next cast that I know that there's going to be a fish behind, or I think there's going to be a fish behind, I'm going to switch that up.
Mm.
And especially early in the day, just making adjustments, right? It's not a chuck and wind bait. I don't really think there is a chuck and wind bait, like even a crankbait. You
Mm.
got to work that. Um, Even a spinner bait, like a spinner bait would probably be the ultimate chuck and wind bait.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad kicks my butt, and like I'm competitive. And if there's a spinnerbait bite, he's catching more and bigger fish than me. And so, just paying attention to the retrieves, what works, what didn't, the spots, like finding. For me last weekend, I had my little brother with his camera out, and it was like, okay, every point facing the south had a 5 pounder that would crush a glide. And I was like, we were running out of time. And so I was like, we hit like 5 spots. I caught 5 over 5 or 5, close to 5 pounds. And it's like, we could do this on that spot, that spot, that spot, that spot. But if you're just going down the lake and thinking, oh, it's just points, you're going to waste time.
That's juice.
Dude, I mean, so much juice. Like I have we take times right down that we're like, okay, this could be used for social media clips. I've got way too many. I'm gonna have to like delete all of these. like I've got way too many, and I'm like half of these I'm just like writing notes. I'm just writing notes at this point. It has nothing to do with social media.
Yeah, this is. I'm looking at it now, and there's a good. Usually, try to get three. Three is a great number for clips of every show. I think Deacon has 9 here.
Yeah, I'm
So I can't imagine how many takeaways other folks are. This is definitely one for people listening. One year, or especially on YouTube as well. You're gonna probably want to restart, or we probably should have. We'll put a precursor in the introduction. They might want a notepad handy for this one because there's some juice. And it's not like you're even letting cat out the bag fully either. I mean, this is you got to keep some of it close to the chest, I imagine. But
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty much what I do. I mean, the more it's just a time on the water thing, so much of it,
mm-hmm.
right? And like familiar water, right?
Mm.
Knowing that there's a rock pile to the right of this main lake point, like 70 feet out. When guys are going to roll up, they're going to stop the boat on top of that rock pile. And they're going to fish the point. And it's like, oh, you just blew the whole spot up to go throw at a couple 3 pounders that are in the dirt feeding on
Hmm.
trout, but you've already gone past the big small or the big largies. And so it's a total, and you can know everything, the spots, the like the right baits, the right retrieves for that day, and you could mistime it.
Mm.
Like I rolled up behind guys this week. I'd see a boat on the spot. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take my turn now, and I caught a 7, and I checked the moon phase, and it was like perfect timing on the moon phase. He was just there an hour early.
Like moonrise or moonset?
Moonrise.
Is there a difference to you in moonrise, moonset?
No, just there's 3 times that it's like I want to be on my juice, and that's moonrise, moon directly overhead, and moonset.
We have our 10th social clip that Deacon is going to be writing
Yeah, literally.
down.
Dude, that is something that I never have messed with ever, by the way. I've heard about it. I've heard all these things. I hear it with hunting and I believe it. I really do believe it. but I just haven't ever
It
locked
hasn't
in.
clicked yet.
No, it hasn't. Like I'm just like, okay, there's a bite window opening, and it's probably during those situations, right? But I need to like probably put 2 and 2 together there.
That's kind of
I
me with barometric pressure, right? Like I don't really pay attention to that because I'm going to be fishing that day regardless whether the pressure's rising or dropping. I know it's like what dropping pressure should turn the bite on
Right.
because that means something's rolling through.
Mm-hmm.
But usually you can feel that, like you see the front rolling in,
and you
Yeah.
start getting smoked too. It's like, all right, here we go. It's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the moonrise moon set thing. Like Deegan, I agree. Like, for a while I've always heard the theory, and it wasn't until for whatever reason this year is when I heard the most people, and especially people that I highly value their input, talk about it. Ben Milliken talked about it this year on our podcast. He's like, "Well, if you want a little bit of juice, you just time the moonrise moon set," and then like he immediately changed the topic. And I'm like, okay, so that actually was like valuable. There's something there. And then a good buddy of mine in the kayak space talked about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, I had to make sure I was there because 11:32 was moonrise."
Yep.
And I'm like, backtrack, say that again. And then you say it now, and I'm like, I have this actually noted down in my own my Google Drive. I have like some ideas for videos for my own stuff for next year, and I do want to do a legitimate study of like go purposefully taking 10 days of fishing and going to the best spots at that time and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued, but you're gonna have a lot of people one looking up their chat GPT or their search bar is gonna be what is moonrise moonset. What is that? And then they're gonna have people that start thinking about it. I would say it's very overlooked right now, even in fishing, still to this day, which is probably for a reason.
So how do you track it? What app are you using?
I think it's called Deep Dive. I just have the
Oh,
free version. I
yeah.
didn't pay for it, but it has the like. I mean, I don't even pay attention to like what they say the feeding window is, right? I just want moon right over the mountains is when and I don't even this wasn't something that I thought of or read and then confirmed. It was just me catching a big fish and going, okay, what are the factors that cause me to catch this fish? And I'm just looking around and then like boom, full moon right over the mountain. It's like, oh, that just happened. Because I hit this spot 3 times a day and I didn't get bit. So like what changed? And I'll see that, okay, I'm gonna credit that one to the moon. And that's happened enough times now where I really pay attention to it.
This right here is why swim bait dudes are so dangerous, dude. Like the details of paying attention to what happened when a bite occurred is like stuff that I feel like I am just a regular Joe Schmo. Like, sick, that was awesome. I caught a 7. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like there's times when I like try and get sciencey and detailed and pay attention, but like not the way that your mind works, man. Like not even close. It's so cool.
That's why I think so many big swim bait guys would make very, very dangerous deer hunters.
Dude, the biggest bucks out there get killed the same way with the same minds of like, why was this deer right here right now? Like that's what you start backtracking to. And I promise you, goes for any hunting or any fishing. Yes, accidents happen and you can get lucky and something happens, but like they are there for a reason at that time. Every single freaking time you can like backtrack it to like, okay, this makes sense why the elk are on this hillside. They've got wind protecting them from this way. They can smell this way. They can see this way. Like this is why they're on this bench. You can always like go backwards.
Yeah, it's all calculated.
Cool.
But yeah, for additional clarity for the folks that are tuning in, it is in Deep Dive, the Moonrise Moonset. It is in Omnia Pro as well.
Omnia Pro, I think, had something.
Omnia has it. I also track it. It's very clear. I use an app called Moon Guide for hunting, where it tells me the red moon days of the month and has like your moonrise, moonset, and different things to hit like throughout the day. But Omnia has it. That's probably the easiest one to do because I know a lot of our folks are Omnia members. But Start timing that out. I really need to start putting time like that, and especially like I can't wait to get down to Florida early next year and start putting that to work, dude. Especially with how finicky those fish can be. If you're telling me that they're gonna start eating around that moonrise, moonset times, I'm like, we got the cheat code dialed, boys. They got no chance.
They're in
I
trouble.
swear this. The second you start relying on it, I had one tournament. It was a kayak tournament on Clear Lake where I could 100% rely on the moon. But I swear, the second you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna make the perfect cast at the perfect time," like it doesn't work out.
Well,
It,
that's a great question because I think people are going to look at this and this could start a whole tangent. So I'll try to keep myself restrained here. But like, say you see that moon rise and it's set like 11:17 or whatever in the morning. And is that like, okay, they're only going to eat at 11:17? Like, what does that mean for somebody that looks at that and knows I got to be at my best spot at this time? Is it 30 minutes before, 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after? What does that mean?
I don't know. Usually, there's like I give it 15 minutes, right? Like if it says moonrise at whatever 11, I'll be there 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after.
Hmm.
And when you're throwing a swim bait, really you only have one cast
Let's
on a
say 30
typical
minutes.
day.
That's 3 casts, isn't it?
Yeah, like and once you pull all those fish and they see the boat, the spot's kind of done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just kind of it's a right around moonrise, right around moon directly overhead, and right around moonset. Make that prime cast.
Dude, it's our buddy Alex Rudd, who we like on go back and forth getting on each other's shows, but he has this term. I don't remember. I'm gonna butcher it. It's an actual like scientific term for what we call like personifying a bass, like I think it's
Yeah,
anthropomorphize, I think is the
yeah.
term. And I do way too much of this stuff, but I more do it out of enjoyment, honestly. But it's like I can just imagine, the moon set or the moonrise is like 11:15 and it's 11:14. They see the bait go over and the bass are just like, hold, hold. And then the time clicks. Just go.
now it's time.
Get him. Oh, I love it though. I'm so excited to try this stuff next year. But I don't know, Chad. You might be talking me into staying another week in California next year.
Dude, we can find a bite. We can find a bite in June. There's a sneaky, shallow kokanee bite in June. They
Oh
they
boy.
get up they get up into the dirt on Main
Well,
Lake
yeah, we're
Point
still recording
sometimes.
right now, Chad. I'm just letting you know. This is
I haven't run into that bite in a while, but I lost I technically didn't lose it. I didn't have it hooked. But right when, we were seeing those world record size spots, I was on a point. It was in June, and I was throwing a big swim jig because the kokanee are smaller. And I had 25, 27 pounds, and I hook a
big whoop.
fish, reel it in, and it's like a 10, 11 pound spot, just trophy world record size spot. And it gets off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And, right as it got to the boat, I went to pull it, it got off. And I'm like beating the rod on the water. And I have a 12-inch red eye bass hooked on my swim jig. And it had eaten the red eye bass.
Can you imagine that fish? He's just like getting rocked.
He was just torn to shreds because he was in I couldn't even see the bass. And it was a keeper bass. And so he was in the crushers. Well, first he was hooked, then he was in the crushers, then he was getting beat on the water, and then I threw him back. Probably straight to the wolves too. He probably got crushed as soon as I put him back.
He's sitting there. He's like, "Dang, look, I'm gonna be able to eat today." Then he goes up, eats it, gets eaten, gets his shit rock, gets CTE, and sent back to get eaten again.
Dude, that is insane. So what would happen in a derby if that happened
I don't know.
and you landed it?
I feel
mean,
like that would qualify as you're catching like this, like two fish on the same jerk bait or topwater. It's got to be the same thing because it's technically on the same hook.
The
especially
question,
because
though,
you're probably not getting that fish in the boat unless there's a hook in him,
right?
But then what if I catch another 12-incher and I fight him extra long?
Right.
Yeah.
That's my point here is like the rabbit hole. When I was a kid, I hooked a bluegill on a fly, and there was a freaking 6-pounder under this dock, and I'm just playing this bluegill. You know what I mean? And that thing got drilled. And same deal. Like I let him take it, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this SOB. Like I'm gonna wait until he swallows it. I don't, like here we go. Dude, it like never was hooked. Got him almost to the boat, or not to the boat. This was on a dock, almost to the dock, and it just came out, and like it was like I had this poor bluegill that had been through trauma to try and get him in on a little fly.
He's like, "Are you happy with yourself? Are you done now?"
That's a good point, because you could target those trout with spy baits. Like you can catch them like with some consistency. So you could get over some of those points, burn a spy bait, hook the trout, and just let that trout sit over that point.
Right. And you got treble hooks on a spy bait. Like you could actually maybe hook one.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing in talking like Great Lakes smallmouth is like when you have a drop shot or Ned rig and you starting feeling gobies eat it. Like I've learned, you just let them, you just leave it. Let them do their thing because they're not going to get hooked. It's very rarely they get hooked. But next thing you know, they're going to stop freaking out because usually when they bite, it's and next thing you know, your rod just starts loading and it's a smallmouth. Because you get them to come up, especially on a drop shot, you get that goby to come up, and they're like going like that, trying to eat it. So they're causing all that craziness. I mean, it's the same thing as any other species. It's like, do I leave it on there? Do I not? Just might be on a drop shot. Just happens to be nose hooked. Oh, I love it. Well, dude, I got one last question for you as we start to wrap this sucker up, and I can't believe it's taken us an hour and 7 minutes now to ask this, but how much money do you think is on that wall behind you?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, top row, those are all 250s. That's a Gary Collins. That's like 350. Those are all $150. I mean, you got some Piz. That's 350. I don't even know. I try not to like keep a running tab.
Don't want to
know. Dude.
It's impressive.
I think my favorite thing, Chad, if you're comfortable, explain what you do for a day job.
Accounting.
Yeah. This is an accountant. And you look at his swim bait wall, and then you look at his rods and reels, and he's like, no. I'm going to spend my money on the swim baits. This rod. Yeah. You probably have more in swim baits by a 100%. Long shot.
100%
in tackle or than in your rods.
You know he's a swim bait guy when all of his spinning reels are Fluger presidents.
Yes. They are.
Facts.
They are. Fluger presidents and whatever's on sale.
I still remember, dude, when we were on Don Pedro and you pulled out the one rod for me to try to throw a minnow at the ramp, the off limits, and it was a Fluger, I think, on an old Fenwick, and then you showed me these trout baits. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It all adds up now. Yeah, it's so good. Hey, priorities, man.
I need to get a nice minnow rod, but other than that, I don't know. That minnow rod I'll probably keep in my hand quite a bit this winter at Clear Lake. But other than that, I don't need nice rods. I need nice baits.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. The baits catch him. The rod reel just gets him in, and you seem to be doing just fine without it. So
at a certain point, like when I wasn't fishing that much, having the Daiwa Stees, I have a couple of those. It's really nice. You feel everything. You feel the bites. But when you're fishing every day or like 3 days a week, you just know when something's different on the end of your line. Like you don't have to feel the exact moment that fish ticks. You end up setting, you're like, I don't even know if I felt a fish, but he's on there.
That's the truth. I noticed that when you start getting dialed in, for me, it's like if it's a normal tournament where there's practice, like day 2 or 3 of practice, and you're doing something that like you can't really feel what's happening, but you're swinging on them, and you're like, Oh yeah, we're ready. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, those noodle stick or just old rods or cheap rods. Like, I mean, you look at like back in the day. There's been plenty of pros that have won a lot of crazy money on rods that you pick up and you're like, I can't feel crap. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, shoot, Matt Robertson's out there fishing with ugly sticks. So
Dude,
like,
there you go.
it's
Give that
proof
boy
in
an
the pudding.
ugly stick.
Dude, that
Awesome.
was the greatest thing. Was
Awesome.
it 2 years ago, 3 years ago at Champlain? I'm trying to remember who won that one when everyone was out throwing a minnow. And there's like Kyoya's out there with his ridiculous Daiwa setups. And then there's Matt Robertson with an ugly stick, bro. That was the greatest thing when they switched to that camera angle. And I think at that time too, he was leading on the final day, and I was like, "This is amazing."
They're like, here's the truth right here.
Yep, it is the truth. It's not the equipment that holds you back.
Mm-mm.
Equipment just makes it nicer. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Deke, you got anything else left for Chad?
No, man. Appreciate you running long with us here and just like
Oh, yeah.
dealing with our absolute randomness. So that's why people will definitely going to have to take notes. It's like, we're going to talk about this and then that. But anyways, so appreciate
Yeah,
it.
our podcasts
We're
are
excited.
structured like a corn maze.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You either get
No, that
lost
was
or
fun.
you find it eventually.
No, that
We
was a
should use
blast.
that actually. That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I like it. But yeah, dude, for real, thank you for the time, man. And I'm really looking forward to come seeing you out on Clear Lake in June.
Oh yeah, bring your minnow rod. Unfortunately,
I'm
they're still eating the minnow.
just gonna steal one of those trout baits. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I probably
You'll wake
wouldn't
up with one
notice
less.
it.
All right, folks, and that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. There was a lot of meat in this episode of things to take away and just straight up juice dropped by Chad on big bait stuff, moonrise, moonset, different things to look for that just straight up ways to catch giants. And do I foresee any trout eating action in your future, Deacon?
Yes. Yes, you do. Because the other thing is they do it on a couple of these Idaho lakes, certainly just in the Pacific Northwest as well. So it's real. I need to spend more time doing it, especially on a couple of bodies of water. And it is, yeah, man, blows me away every time. Every time I talk to Chad about something, we get so in depth on anything fishing, right? It could be literally talking about some super finesse bait or some crazy swim bait, and the dude just is ate up
Nerd.
with it. Yeah.
Nerd in a good way.
And as good as you can be. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, shout out again to Chad. We'll have all his socials and everything down below for you guys to go. Make sure you follow along. Definitely gonna be rooting for him to make the Super 60 for the upcoming season. Obviously, being in the pro-ams, he's a guy I see at a launch, and if I was competing against him, I'd be like, "Damn, that sucks."
He's a hammer, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Detailed.
But, any other takeaways from today's show?
Yeah, man. To me, the biggest takeaway is just really, really paying attention to everything that's happening when you do get bit. Big baits make you do that for sure. I've experienced that on a very low level, but like taking that and applying it to the rest of fishing, right? Like really trying to dive in on why those fish were doing a certain thing. Obviously, electronics help us a ton with this, but also just the idea, like why now, what's happening, what's different, pattern recognition, right? So yeah, just a constant reminders, man. That's what I love about this show. It is a constant learning wheel, and if if multiple hammers are doing the same thing and keep talking about the same thing, it's like, all right, hey, guess what? Maybe one of these times is gonna, go into my brain and I'm gonna pay attention. So anyway.
You're like, hey, those three guys are the three guys I'm worried about most, and they all got one thing in common. I probably should do that one thing they all have in common.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a common denominator here that's staring at us in the face, and we keep choosing to ignore it.
That's me.
But yes, yeah, absolutely, dude. And I think too is he mentioned like you can just go and chuck these baits around and just basically do NASCAR on the lake, throwing these baits. You'll get bit. You might catch some, but you really will get the most out of your day by being more calculated on one, where you're fishing, why those fish are there, and how to best set up on said place to where it's not about who makes the most casts, it's who's making the best cast. And how that plays such a bigger role in when we're talking about the big bait game. So the folks will have a lot more of that coming to them on Wednesday. It was kind of unintentional, as we joked in the show, but it's big bait week over here at Serious Angler, and you guys have even more coming with Brandon Polinick. We have Josh from Clutch Swim Bait Co. And as well as Garrett Rockamora on Wednesday, all talking glide baits. And so it's going to be a pretty good one for you guys coming up.
Dude, we should start this. I mean,
Big bait week.
I mean, it doesn't happen to be, and I know, saying this live or if this is edited out or not, but like December 3rd, first of all, it's my birthday. So like we should just have big bait week all the time, the first week of December. You know what I mean?
I mean, we're saying it now. We're putting stake and claim in the public where if anybody else does this now, you copied our idea. You got it from us. So it's just
BBW. It's big bait week. Baby.
Oh, no. Take your week how you want it, boys.
It is big bait week, baby. Come on. BBW.
Oh, man. You can tell it's getting late. Yeah. I got to love it. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. Well, we need to make that a thing then. Big bait week going forward. But folks, hopefully you guys appreciate this episode. If you did, let us know down below in the comments, whether you're watching on YouTube. If you guys are listening, leave us a rating and review. If you guys keep sending screenshots of your reviews, we'll keep sending you out some stickers. We have some even cooler stuff on the way. Hopefully be here before you know it. But man, anything else for the folks?
No, man. Another great episode, and makes me think and think and think. So really appreciate Chad coming on, spilling the beans.
Heck yeah. Folks, appreciate y'all. We'll see you on the next one.